Have you been waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning? Not because of noise, not because of stress, but because you have to go to the bathroom again. And as you lie there in the dark, unable to fall back asleep, a quiet thought starts creeping in. Is something wrong with my kidneys? Here's the urgent truth most people are never told. Frequent nighttime urination, poor sleep, and even a mild rise in creatinine are not harmless signs of aging. When they repeat night after night, they quietly push your kidneys into a state of constant strain, long before pain, long before a diagnosis, and long before most doctors sound the alarm. That's why this matters right now, because by the time kidney problems feel obvious, the damage is often already underway, silently, gradually, and deeply. But there is something most people get wrong. Protecting your kidneys is not about extreme diets, cutting out everything you enjoy, or chasing miracle supplements online. In fact, those habits often make things worse. In this video, I'm going to show you a far gentler, science-backed approach using simple fruits used at the right time and in the right way that helps reduce nighttime strain, calm inflammation, and give your kidneys a real chance to rest. My name is Dr. Mark Ellis. And if your nights have been getting shorter, your sleep lighter, or your kidney numbers more worrying than before, stay with me because what you're about to hear may change how you take care of your kidneys from this point forward. Let's start with the first fruit because this is often where kidney protection truly begins: blueberries. Many people think kidney damage only happens when numbers suddenly spike. But in real life, what I see far more often is something quieter. Low-grade inflammation, oxidative stress, tiny injuries inside the filtering units of the kidney that don't cause pain, don't cause warning signs, but slowly add up over time. I remember a patient in his early 60s who told me, "Doctor, I don't feel sick. I'm just tired all the time." His creatinine was only slightly elevated, nothing dramatic, but his kidneys were constantly inflamed, working in a state of irritation rather than balance. This is where blueberries matter. Blueberries are rich in anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress, one of the key drivers of kidney aging. Instead of forcing the kidneys to filter harder, anthocyanins help calm the environment they work in. Think of it this way: the kidneys don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they're overworked in an inflamed system. Scientific studies have shown that diets rich in anthocyanins are associated with improved vascular function and reduced inflammatory markers, both of which are critical for protecting the delicate blood vessels inside the kidneys. When those vessels stay flexible and less inflamed, filtration becomes smoother, quieter, and far less damaging over time. And here's what most people miss. Blueberries don't create a dramatic overnight drop in lab numbers. What they do instead is far more important. They slow the progression. They reduce ongoing injury. They give the kidneys space to breathe. This is why blueberries are especially helpful for people with mildly rising creatinine, early-stage kidney stress, or chronic low-grade inflammation. They are not aggressive, they are protective. But protection alone is not the whole story, because even if inflammation calms down, kidneys still depend on something just as critical: a steady, healthy blood supply. Without proper circulation, even the calmest kidney tissue can begin to weaken. And that brings us to the next fruit, one that doesn't just protect the kidneys, but helps feed them from the inside out. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is another factor that can quietly damage your kidneys even faster if you overlook it. If blueberries help calm the inflammation inside the kidneys, the next question becomes just as important: what keeps the kidneys strong enough to recover? And the answer is something many people overlook: blood supply. This is where mulberries come in. I often see older patients whose lab numbers aren't terrible, but their bodies tell a different story. They feel exhausted by mid-morning. Their skin looks pale. Their sleep is light and restless. When we look deeper, the issue isn't just the kidneys themselves. It's that the kidneys are being asked to work with less oxygen and fewer nutrients than they need. The kidneys are incredibly demanding organs. They receive nearly 20% of the body's blood flow. When circulation weakens even slightly, kidney function becomes less efficient, more fragile, and more vulnerable to damage. Mulberries support this exact problem. They are rich in natural compounds that help improve microcirculation, especially in smaller blood vessels. In traditional medicine and modern nutritional science alike, mulberries have been associated with supporting blood quality and reducing mild anemia, a condition surprisingly common in people over 60 with early kidney stress. Scientific observations show that reduced hemoglobin and impaired microvascular flow are strongly linked to faster kidney decline. When blood delivery drops, the kidneys don't fail. Suddenly, they fade slowly, struggling to keep up with daily demands. Mulberries don't stimulate the kidneys. They don't push filtration harder. Instead, they work upstream, helping the blood reach kidney tissue more efficiently, so each filtering unit can do its job without strain. I often explain it this way to patients: inflammation wears the kidneys down, but poor blood supply starves them. That's why people who add gentle circulation support often report something subtle but meaningful: less fatigue, better warmth in the hands and feet, and more stable kidney numbers over time. Mulberries are especially helpful for people who feel tired, despite acceptable lab results, or who have been told their kidneys are stable but don't feel stable at all. But even with calmer inflammation and better circulation, there is another hidden stress that quietly accelerates kidney damage, and it often shows up at night when most people think the body should be resting. And just knowing about blood supply isn't enough, because there is another factor that can be even more dangerous if you miss it. If inflammation has been calmed and blood flow has been restored, many people assume the kidneys should finally be able to recover. But this is where a hidden problem often sabotages everything what happens at night. I can't tell you how many patients have said this to me, doctor. I do everything right during the day, but at night I'm up 3, 4 times, and after that I'm exhausted. This isn't just a sleep issue, it's a kidney issue. Every time you wake up to urinate, the kidneys are forced back into work mode when they should be resting, repairing, and regulating hormones. Over time, repeated nighttime urination keeps the kidneys stuck in a constant low-level stress cycle. This is where black grapes make a meaningful difference. Black grapes are rich in resveratrol, a natural compound known for its calming effect on smooth muscle tissue. In the urinary system, this matters more than most people realize. Resveratrol helps relax the smooth muscles of the bladder, reducing unnecessary contractions and the constant false alarm signals that trigger nighttime urgency. Studies have linked resveratrol to improved bladder stability and reduced inflammatory signaling in urinary tissues. When the bladder becomes less irritable, nighttime awakenings decrease, and that single change can dramatically reduce the strain placed on the kidneys after dark. I once worked with a man in his late 60s who didn't complain about pain or numbers. His only frustration was sleep. After adjusting his evening habits and adding gentle bladder support, he told me something simple but powerful. I didn't realize how tired my kidneys were until they finally got to rest. That's the point most people miss. Reducing nighttime urination isn't just about comfort, it's about giving the kidneys uninterrupted recovery time. Less disruption at night means lower stress hormones, better blood pressure control, and a more stable filtration rhythm. Black grapes don't sedate you. They don't suppress symptoms. They help restore a calmer communication between the bladder and the nervous system, so the body stops sending emergency signals when none are needed. If you struggle with frequent nighttime urination, light sleep, or waking up feeling drained despite normal test results, this step is often a turning point. But even when sleep improves and nighttime strain is reduced, the kidneys are still vulnerable to another silent threat, one that most people never connect to kidney health at all. And knowing this alone is not enough, because there is another factor that can be even more dangerous if you overlook it. After everything we've talked about so far, from the healthy habits that quietly overload your kidneys to the hidden mistakes most people repeat every single day, there's one factor that often goes completely unnoticed. And ironically, it's something people believe is harmless, even beneficial. I remember a patient in his early 50s, no chronic disease, no diabetes, no hypertension. On paper, he looked perfectly healthy, but his kidney markers kept getting worse. When we dug deeper, the pattern became clear: constant dehydration paired with aggressive clean eating. He drank coffee all morning, maybe a smoothie at noon, and barely touched water until evening. He thought his kidneys would adapt. They didn't. From a scientific standpoint, this is where things get dangerous. Your kidneys rely on adequate fluid flow to filter waste balance electrolytes and protect delicate structures called nephrons. Studies show that chronic mild dehydration increases vasopressin levels, a hormone that, when persistently elevated, accelerates kidney scarring and decline. One large cohort study found that people with consistently concentrated urine had a significantly higher risk of chronic kidney disease progression over time. And here's the trap: you don't feel it happening. There's no pain, no warning signal, just slow, silent damage. The solution isn't simply drink more water. That advice alone is incomplete and sometimes misleading. Timing matters. Balance matters. Electrolytes matter. Drinking excessive fluids all at once can stress the kidneys just as much as not drinking enough, especially in older adults. The real strategy is steady hydration, spread throughout the day, adjusted for body-size, diet, medications, and climate. This is where smart prevention comes in. Start your day with water before caffeine. Pair protein intake with hydration. Watch urine color. Pale yellow is a simple but powerful marker. And if you're restricting fluids without a medical reason, that's a red flag. You need to reassess. But here's the part: most people miss: hydration alone won't protect your kidneys if another silent factor is still attacking them from the inside. Because knowing this is still not enough, there's another factor that's even more dangerous, and almost no one is talking about it. So after hydration, something most people already struggle to get right, we arrive at a factor that's far more dangerous, far more common, and almost never discussed honestly. Blood sugar spikes. I once worked with a woman in her late 40s. She wasn't diabetic. Her fasting glucose looked normal. She exercised regularly and avoided junk food. Yet her kidney function was declining faster than expected. The missing piece: massive blood sugar swings throughout the day, driven by smoothies, fruit-heavy breakfasts, and clean snacks that spiked glucose again and again. Here's what science tells us. Every sharp rise in blood sugar increases pressure inside the kidney's filtering units, the glomeruli. Over time, this constant stress damages the filtration barrier even before diabetes is diagnosed. Research shows that post-meal glucose spikes, not just average blood sugar, are strongly associated with early kidney damage, inflammation, and protein leakage in urine. And the scariest part: you won't feel it. No dizziness, no pain, no immediate symptoms, just microscopic injury happening multiple times a day. This is why people are blindsided when labs suddenly change. They thought, I don't have diabetes, so my kidneys are safe. That assumption is one of the biggest myths harming kidney health today. The solution isn't cutting carbs completely. That often backfires. The real strategy is control and sequencing. Pair carbohydrates with protein and fiber to slow absorption. Avoid liquid sugars, juices, smoothies, sweetened health drinks, which spike glucose faster than solid food. And most importantly, reduce constant grazing. Every snack resets the damage clock. Studies using continuous glucose monitors show that even healthy individuals experience extreme spikes from foods they assumed were safe. When those spikes happen repeatedly, the kidneys pay the price long before blood tests flag a problem. This is where prevention becomes powerful. Stabilizing blood sugar doesn't just protect against diabetes, it reduces kidney workload, inflammation, and long-term scarring. It's one of the few levers that protects kidneys silently every single day. But here's the truth most people aren't ready to hear. Even perfect hydration and stable blood sugar won't save your kidneys if another invisible threat is still undermining them from the background. Because knowing this is still not enough, there's another factor even more dangerous, and almost no one is paying attention to it. So if hydration isn't enough and blood sugar control still doesn't fully protect your kidneys, then we have to talk about a silent destroyer that almost no one connects to kidney failure early on: chronic inflammation. I remember a patient in his early 50s. His labs weren't dramatic. Creatinine was only slightly elevated. Blood sugar was borderline. Blood pressure looked acceptable. Yet every year his kidney function slipped slowly, quietly, relentlessly. When we dug deeper, the pattern was clear: constant low-grade inflammation driven by ultra-processed foods, poor sleep stress, and hidden metabolic stress. Here's the science most people never hear. Chronic inflammation damages the endothelial lining of blood vessels, including the tiny capillaries that feed the kidneys. Over time, this reduces oxygen delivery, increases oxidative stress, and accelerates scarring inside the kidney tissue. Studies show that elevated inflammatory markers like CRP and IL-6 are strongly associated with faster kidney function decline, even in people without diabetes or severe hypertension. And here's the dangerous part. Inflammation doesn't announce itself. You don't feel inflamed. You don't wake up knowing your kidneys are under attack. There's no alarm bell, just gradual damage happening day after day. What fuels this inflammation? Not just junk food. It's excessive omega-6 oils, hidden sugars, chronic sleep deprivation alcohol used to relax, and stress hormones that never fully shut off. Each one adds a small flame. Together, they create a fire the kidneys cannot escape from. The solution isn't a miracle supplement, it's a system. Prioritize whole foods over ultra-processed ones. Improve sleep consistency. Even 1 extra hour reduces inflammatory markers. Reduce alcohol frequency, not just quantity. Add gentle movement like walking, which has been shown to lower systemic inflammation without stressing the kidneys. Research consistently shows that people who reduce chronic inflammation slow kidney decline, sometimes dramatically, even when other risk factors remain. Inflammation is not just a side effect, it's a driver. But here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. You can hydrate perfectly, stabilize blood sugar, and reduce inflammation, and still sabotage your kidneys every single day without realizing it. Because knowing this still isn't enough, there's another factor even more dangerous hiding in plain sight, and it's one almost everyone is doing wrong. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this: your kidneys are not fragile by default. They're resilient when you give them the right signals. No matter your age, no matter what your last lab results said, it is never too late to slow the damage, protect what you still have, and make better choices starting today. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware, consistent, and willing to change one habit at a time. Small decisions, what you drink, how you sleep, how you eat, how you manage stress compound over years, either toward kidney failure or toward kidney preservation. If this video helped you understand your kidneys more clearly, do yourself a favor and save it. Come back to it when life gets busy, when old habits creep back in, or when your lab numbers confuse you. And if you care about your long-term health, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I share evidence-based medical insights, real clinical experience, and practical strategies to help you protect your kidneys before it's too late, without fear, without hype, and without misinformation. Remember, kidney disease doesn't happen overnight, and neither does healing. But every informed choice you make today moves you in the right direction. Take care of your kidneys because they're taking care of you every single second. I'll see you in the next video.